And today I'll be talking about how to improve our business intelligence report UI with icons and custom backgrounds. I want to believe that most of these concepts they are not new concepts. So I was just talking about how we how the concept of building business intelligence report, how although it's not a new concept, but there are some things that maybe as we go on or as we try to build one report or the other, there are also learnings that we can pick. Also, there are common mistakes that people make that I've seen across maybe so many of the reports and dashboard that I've seen. And I just thought it wise to let's talk about this today and also tend to share and exchange knowledge regarding this.
So now, I want to believe everyone on this call, I want us to remember the very first report we created on maybe Power BI, on W, or any of all these business intelligence tools. I want to just cast our mind back to what our very first, will I say, dashboard looks like. So, I mean, if you're someone like me, I want to believe possibly maybe your reports look something like this. And that is because we know the first time we get introduced to the old drag and drop GUI interface with the Power BI and other business intelligence tools introduced, because we are so it's so easy to just drag and drop visuals on the canvas. We tend to just load it with as much information as we can, try on different colors, try on different background, just get it funky and get it will I say beautiful. So at that point, making the report beautiful, I think comes top of mind. And you'd remember that maybe the very when people start learning Power BI and they are able to drag maybe their first few visuals on the canvas. I mean, there's this feeling that just gets you on top of the world that wow, I did this, right? And I mean, it looks beautiful in our eyes then. But as time goes on, as we start maybe building more reports, as we start getting into the core of making real business BI reports, we tend to understand that some of these, there are some best practices that we need to follow. So today I'll be focusing mainly on the user interface. Of course, I have to say that I'm not an expert. I'm not a UI UX expert. These are just some of the common mistakes that I've seen and how to improve it. So I'll run through a quick presentation, and then I'll just quickly do a demo whereby we tend to move this correct report to maybe something like this, right? So I don't know if you are excited. If you are excited, please let's just drop maybe the like button or something. Let's just drop like on the screen, or maybe just say that we're excited to move from this kind of report to something like this, right? Now, how do we get started, or how do we do something like this? So if you're starting out, you want to understand that where do you even start from? If you want to create a report or you want to create a dashboard, I'm sorry, I'll be making one blunder, maybe not a blunder, but all through this call, I'll be using dashboard and reports interchangeably. I would like to believe they are more or less the same thing, but I think Microsoft has its own way of saying maybe a dashboard is different from a report. Maybe I agree, maybe I don't. I don't want to start that argument, but I'll be using dashboard and reports interchangeably. So where do we start from? If we want to create a report that that is easy to read, that everybody understand, and that pass a strong message, right? Where do we start from exactly? And I would like to believe that the very first thing to start with is to understand the needs of the users. Who are the people that are going to be consuming this report, right? Are they C-level executives? Are they people in the operations department? Are they people that are on the field? And so on and so forth, because the consumer depends or determines how our report is going to be. If you are designing a report, for instance, for maybe high-level executives, you want to make the report as condensed as possible. You want to go straight to the point. You don't want to give in too many detail because they are not interested in drilling down to see the most let's say, minute detail of that report. They just want to see things on a high level, have a broad understanding of business performance and all of that. It's different from if you're trying to create a report for maybe operations, people in the operations, or people in manufacturing, or even people that are on the field. So you want to put into consideration, is this report going to be consumed on mobile? Is this report going to be consumed on desktop, and so on and so forth, right? Those are some of the things that we need to keep at the back of our mind when we are creating our report or our dashboard. The second thing I would like to talk about is a great design start with a sketch. Please don't mind my ugly drawing. So this is a drawing that I just made on paper, and I always like to advise people that before you start doing anything, before you drag your first visual to the canvas, right, try to have a sketch, right? Try to put together a plan. Because in the real sense, or in the real world of it, I understand that maybe most people, because we're trying to learn maybe data analysis online or business intelligence, right? We are the one creating the problem, the problem statement ourselves. We are the one creating the visual. We are the one trying to answer the question all at once. In an ideal setting, or in a typical company or organization, right? You are not just going to be the one to come up and say you want to see your revenue, you want to see the sales, you want to see the orders, you want to see this. I mean, there's some maybe the project management team or a business analyst would have already scoped that, or even if not at that, your manager already tells you that this is what he wants. So it's easier that way. Right. So before you proceed, I always say that try to have a sketch. Try to have a sketch of what you want to do, and you really, maybe along the line, you might also try to modify as you go along. But it's always good to have something to start with, all right? Because that really helps a lot. So as you can see from my ugly sketch right there, I know my logo is going to be on the right. I have maybe filters on the left. I have maybe 2 or 3 visuals, and I want to show a trend. And then I have maybe icon on the right or something. It may be on paper. It may be on a whiteboard. It may be even on Figma, on PowerPoint. Just try to have like a sketch so that you know from the start that this is what it is that you're doing, right? Now, the second thing I always tell people to keep in mind before creating their report is to understand that how do users really read this report? How do people consume our report? How do they understand it? And I always say that the best of dashboard or the best of reports should provide all the relevant information to the user in 5 seconds. So there is this Z pattern that people, especially in the West, try to read reports. So they start from the top left, right? Reading from the left to the right, then down left, then down to the right, right? So this is how people typically read, especially people from the West. I mean, of course, unless you're designing for maybe people in the Middle East or people that possibly read from right to left, right? So if you are designing your report or you are designing your dashboard, you want to keep your most important information on the top left, then followed by the top right. Then you want to also follow that with what you have on your bottom left, and the least important information to always be at the bottom right of your screen. That way, if the first time someone lands on your report, on your dashboard, their eye just goes straight to the top left. So they want to capture the most important information, or the most important, and they want to answer the most important question within that 5 seconds. So always try to put that information right there, all right? Now, the second thing I want to talk about is, as data analysts or as BI analysts or as data scientists, we always have to solve problems. We don't create them. And how do we create a problem with our report or our dashboard, right? Is where we put in so many elements, so many colors. There is no storytelling. There is no action. We're just, doing this just to get funky and all, right? And so, because if you look at the current visual I have on my report right now, it doesn't follow all the best practices. Like you can see, there are different colors that you really can't say what is what. Again, you can't tell, is our sales going up or is our sales going down? You can't tell what is the action. So a manager is looking at this report right now. What is the action that this person is supposed to perform, right? What action is going to take? What is going well? What is not going well? Someone cannot outrightly get that information from here, and then the colors are merged, and then they are quite confusing, right? And you see this in most of the, I'm sorry to say, you see a lot of people join challenges today, and you see them post on LinkedIn, and they are trying to do too much. They're trying, because, I mean, of course, the aim of that is to maybe possibly win that challenge. So they are infusing so many elements, so many colors, so many stuff that you really cannot follow. I mean, it's looking more like an infographic than a report that someone, maybe a business person, is going to consume. So we always want to be mindful of this, right? And a very good way of reducing report complexity is to have maybe use drill throughs and tool tips. And what do I mean by this? So you have what I call it level 0, where you have maybe the most important element, or the most the information you want to capture on a high level, right? And then you have a functionality whereby you're able to drill through to the other elements or the other level in that report. And also maybe you still want to see a granular detail, you're also still able to drill through from that level to a third level, right? This way you're able to manage information, you're able to manage the user interface, you're able to even give a very good experience. I mean, of course, maybe someone would want to say that this is even bordering on UX, all right? But these are some of the things that people need to be conscious of. And I also want to say something, right? Having a beautiful report, or having a report that is clean in itself, doesn't do the job. Of course, your analysis has to be great. The insight you're trying to give has to be great, right? But what is the benefit of all the insights, the benefit of the great work that you have done, if you are going to mess it up, or if the user cannot really understand at first glance what you are trying to do, right? Also, something that is also worthy of mention right here is, I understand that maybe because everybody is trying to learn, or we are all learning, right? And when we learn a new thing, we always want to put this up maybe on our report. So we learn a very cool DAX function, or we just stumble on one custom visual that we just feel is beautiful, and you just want to put everything on your canvas and all. So what I always like to say is that being an expert at this thing, or being a professional at this thing, does not mean that you are using all the tools or all the knowledge or all the skills you've gained on one singular dashboard, right? So think of an artist. The most celebrated artists in the world today, they are not the people that maybe draw the world on one single canvas. These are people that with each stroke, with each line, you can tell that this is some expertise talking right here. So we should learn to manage some of this information, and we should always try to imbibe some of these things when we are creating our report. Something else I also like to say is to use colors effectively, effective use of color. Nobody is going to argue that this dashboard I have right here is actually a very beautiful dashboard, and it's very cool to look at, right? But if you're looking at it in terms of insights, and in terms of what action is this passing across, you see that the colors are confusing. And what do I mean? So if you look at the very first visual right here, so we have consumer, corporate, and home office. You can see that there's a particular color theme that has been set. So consumer is probably a lemon. Corporate is, I don't know if this is pink or burgundy. I'm sorry, I'm not very great with colors. And then home office is, I want to believe this is an orange, right? Now there has to be some level of consistency across your entire report. Because you've started like this, that has to be the trend that you follow through. Because someone can be looking at this other visual now on the right that is saying maybe furniture, office supply, and technology. And what this person, I'm sorry, let me just use the pen tool so that you can see what I'm talking about. Sorry, the laser. Right, so this is what I'm talking about, right? So someone may be looking at this, and they are trying to understand that maybe this is the breakdown of the consumer element of this report, right? And someone that is looking at this is going to say maybe this is the breakdown of home office, right? The same thing if you look at total sales and profit right here. Someone is understanding that maybe this lemon is speaking to this consumer, this total quantity is speaking to home office, and this total discount is speaking to maybe corporate or something. So you can see that although this is a very beautiful dashboard, right, although this is a very beautiful report, but there is no consistency in terms of effective use of colors, and then there's no consistency with the way the colors are laid out and all of that. So we should always try to be mindful of this, right? So not putting 10 colors or 20 colors does not mean that our or using a monochromatic color does not mean our report or our dashboard is not going to look great. So we also just have to be mindful and try to manage some of these colors effectively, right? Also, the next thing I want to talk about is data storytelling, right? If we are creating our report, if you're trying to create our dashboard, there's actually a statistic that data data is not as memorable as stories, right? And 5% of people remember statistics, whereas 63% remember the story or remember the particular story that is crafted around that story. So we should always be mindful. If we are trying to build our dashboard or we're trying to create our report, let's try to tell a story. It shouldn't just be we just see a data set, and I see people do this a lot. We just see a data set, we just look at that data, and we just see, oh, okay, what can we aggregate? We just look at the, will I say numerical field, and just start aggregating. So you see someone on one single report, they are putting total sales, total discount, total, what's it called? Total units sold, total people who bought on credit, total people who did not pay, total people who said they promised to pay back tomorrow, total this. They just aggregate all the numerical fields, right? And then they just put everything. Like there's no story, there is no consistency, and there is no continuity, right? How do people interact? How do people understand some of the things we're trying to imbibe or implement in our dashboard? Is that there has to be like a common theme, which we lay down our report, and then with which we let these flows. So stories are more persuasive than statistics, and stories persuade us to flow with some of the elements that we're talking about, or it makes for a great maybe user experience, and it makes whoever is consuming our report or whoever is consuming our dashboard to them have like a very a powerful understanding of what we're trying to communicate, really. So the next thing I want to talk about is our background image is great, and please maybe we can comment on the chat and to say that if this is a great visual or not. I love it, so I don't know about you. I want to believe this is like a very beautiful report right here. And I mean, we can understand the point I'm trying to make, right? There has to be a way we manage images, especially on our report. Images can be very distracting, and they tend to distract the core elements that we want to focus on, or the user is supposed to focus on in their report, right? So we want to be mindful of the way we use images on our report or on our dashboard. I always like, if you are going to use an image, you have to maybe make it as transparent as possible, so that the main element of your visual or of your report is visible and can be easily digested. So this is a pain to read right now, because someone cannot even understand what is going on here. And I picked this from one of the challenge dashboard or challenge report that I see online. So we should always look at some of these things, look at what others are doing wrong, so that we know what are some of the things that we can do right? So that is that. Now, how do we now get inspiration? I know that most times it may not be as easy as you say, that people should maybe come up with concept or come up with their own inspiration online. And sometimes even the best of people, it's difficult to continuously innovate and think through designs every single time. And that is why a very good practice I encourage people to, you can always get inspiration online by just typing dashboard inspiration or Power BI inspiration or Power BI dashboard online. You are going to be faced with a lot of visuals or a lot of people that have created one report or the other that you can try to imitate or you can try to mimic. I mean, starting from here, you're able to see what a great dashboard or a great visual look like, and you can always try to emulate this and inculcate these best practices in our report. I hope I'm still audible. Please let me know if
yes, you are.
okay. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. So so I continue. So you can always type dashboard inspiration or maybe Power BI dashboard inspiration and so on and so forth online and get some of these inspiration to work with and all. So let's now get to the business of the day. Is how do we now create some of these custom backgrounds? How do we amplify our report and move from a very maybe Blair report to something that gives the wow effect, right? So I'll stop sharing this screen now, and I'm going to share my next screen where we now tend to do some maybe practicals or do like a deep dive or a demo into some of these things that I'm talking about. So forgive me while I stop sharing for now. So I'm going to be sharing two reports right now. So this is what I'm trying to achieve, right? So we have this report. So this is like a report that maybe, I mean, we are familiar with. This is just me dragging the visual, some of the visuals on my canvas, right? And this is how this report is starting out. And we want to take it to somewhere like this. We want to take this report to something like this, where you're able to see it in a more visually aesthetic manner that communicates that communicates. I mean, some of the best practices in a UI dashboard, where you're able to even switch from a light theme background to a dark theme background. You're able to navigate. You're able to interact with the core elements of this report. Also, you're able to even switch from. One second, you're also able to maybe interact with some of the elements and maybe change from maybe map visual to a chart, and then you're able to embed maybe icons to further give some sort of maybe aesthetic appeal to your report. So so I want to please let me know if you are excited to do this, or maybe this is not something fun. Please let me know in the chat. Is this something that we are excited to learn about?
Yes,
so I'll be checking the chat.
I know.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. So this is where we. Okay, so I hope it's visible now.
Yes,
okay. All right. So I was saying that we want to move from maybe a just a report like this to something like this, and sort of like improve the aesthetic appeal of our report, while also putting in mind or leaving in mind the functionality of this report, right? So to do that, I want to start from the background, like I said. So so this is the background I used. A lot of people do this on PowerPoint, some do this on Figma, some do this on maybe any other tool of choice, right? What is just most important is so all of these are maybe shapes that I just added. So I'm going to format this shape now. So some of these shapes are just shapes that I added, and of course I use the colors that I know will work for me. Of course, there is no other fast way to do this. So all of these are shapes, all of these are shapes, all of these are shapes also. Then also I have icons that I've downloaded online. I'm going to talk about some of these icons later, but I also have all of these are shapes also. So this is a shape that just has a gradient that I added. So I had a gradient and then used the colors that I would love to have on my report, right? And then I added icons. I'm going to show also how to add some of these icons. If you are using Office 365 or maybe any of I think PowerPoint, maybe 2016 or 2019, I'm not so sure if you can do it, but I use Office 365. And if you go to the Insert tab and you go to icons, you can actually add lots of icons from here. So you want icons that talk about revenue, you can always have this. You want icons that talk about maybe sales, for instance. Okay, so maybe this is not so good. You want icons that talks about maybe orders. Okay, this is not so let me say maybe date or calendar. So you can always have suggestions, right, on how to, and you can add some of these icons to your report as you like. So this is this icon, and one good thing is also that you can also change the feel of the color of the particular icon it is that you are using. So this is one way, but I noticed that this is limited in terms of the options that are available. So I also use another website that is called logomaker.com. So that is logo maker without E. I'm just going to drop that in the chat for the benefits of some of us. Right. So logomaker.com. And how do I use this is to maybe type in what we want. So I want revenue. I'm just going to type revenue, for instance, and I can see icons that talk about revenue that I can use. Maybe I want sales, or I want to talk about orders, and so on and so forth, right? So let's say I want to use something like this, right? And once I select this, now I can now change. I can modify the color of this icon by choosing maybe the color code. So I can use any of the examples here. Or I can specify if I have a particular color theme, right? I can also have that. So of course there are many websites that we can use, but I use this website because when you want to save, you are not maybe you don't have to pay for everything. There are so many websites that allows you to create your own icons and allows you to download. But I use this because when you're about to save, even though it prompts you to pay so a certain fee for you to be able to download your files, but there's actually a very small functionalities here that says download low resolution file. And because you're just using it, it's not like you're trying to create a billboard or something. So the low resolution will work just fine. So you can always download a low resolution size of that image, and then you can save it. And once you save it, it's easy for you to use. So you can create as many and you can download as many as possible. So I'm not going to dwell on that. Maybe I want something to talk about maybe shipment, for instance. There are tons and tons of options that you want to that you can use from this site. So of course there are other sites that allows us to do this. We can explore as much as we want. So after I create these backgrounds, I create this background, and then so that is why I was able to bring in all of these icons. The next thing is to create the light theme version of this background. All of these things right here are also shapes that I put here. So I put a background that is maybe a little bit off-white, and then I put a white background. There are other ways that you can do this, right? I'm just going to show you other samples of some of the backgrounds that I've created in my spare time. So this is this, then this is possibly maybe the light, the dark theme of this one. This is another variation. This is another variation. We also have this variation also. I also have this. I have this. Like I said, all of these are maybe shapes that I just put, or maybe add gradients and so on and so forth. So these I've created also. This is still work in progress. And then I have this for the home page or for the main page. So this is a place where maybe I can use an image for a background. I'm sorry if I'm biased with using images in a live report that you're creating in a typical work environment, right? I mean, so this is not to talk about maybe a fun project that we are doing on and all, but if we are trying to create a report within an organization setting, we should be mindful of how, when we are using maybe the backgrounds and all. So but for now, I'm using a background on this home page, and the way I do this is, so I have a picture of a very nice high-rise building that I downloaded online. So I have this picture here, and then in order to make it, to reduce the is it opacity now or transparency, so I put another layer of shape. So this is just a shape that I also added. So let me format shape so that we can see. So this is a shape I also added, and then I put a gradient fill, and I put some colors or the color themes I want, and I set the transparency to maybe about 46%, just so that you can still see the background, but you can see it less, and it's not distracting from the main report. And then I have maybe some of these shapes also here that are filled with one gradient fill or the other. Then I put icons to depict maybe different navigation from one page to the other, right? So these are some of the things. Then I have the this one I showed the other time. So this one being the dark theme of this, and of course this was used to create a report like this, for instance. So now once I'm done, let's say I'm done creating my background, the next thing I want to do is to save. And if I'm trying to save this, so I can come to home, I can say save as, and now if I'm trying to save, there are some formats that I always choose. So you can choose maybe PNG, or you can choose JPEG, but a format that I always use is the scalable vector graphics format, that is SVG. So if you save this SVG, is going to you can, so if you save as SVG, you can always use that. So these are some of the SVGs that I've saved, maybe Adventure Works background, and all the like. So once I save this as SVG format, I can then come to my Power BI report. So let me bring that up now. Okay, so while I'm here now, I can come to, while I'm clicking on the background, I can go to the format pane, and I can go to page background and say add image. So if I'm adding my image, I know that my image, maybe this is the Adventure World background that I want to use, and I can say open. So I've added this. Of course, I'm not going to see anything, and that is because my transparency is still set to 100%. So I may want to reduce this to maybe to 0 or to something, yeah, to 0, and then I change this to fit, so that it fits the entire screen. And the next thing I just have to do is to just try to reshape my visual to fit into some of the shapes that I've created. Of course, I'm not going to do all of this now because of time, but I mean, I'm sure we understand the core concept of what we are trying to achieve. So I'm able to do this. Sorry. I'm able to do this, and then I'm able to do this also. 1 second. I'm able to do this also. And also just put this into the space that has been allocated for that. I don't need this for now, so I can put this here. I can put this here. Of course, it's still looking very ugly right now. So this is just me. All of this is really just easy job, right? Easy work. So this is just me aligning the visual. Now the next thing I want to do is to use my themes to now control the color. So instead of going one after the other to try to change all of this to fit a particular theme or this color that I've preset, right? I can go on themes. Of course, we know that with themes we can change our reports, the kind of colors that we want and all. So, but one thing I'm able to do, so let's say I've settled for one. So let's say I've settled for something like this, for instance. So I want to now try to edit my theme. right? Or I want to customize my current theme. So of course you can browse. So let me just quickly talk about it. You can browse for themes on the Microsoft side. You can also have your maybe your own theme gallery if you want to. Okay, sorry about that. So browse for themes. Sorry, is to browse on your own local device, while Theme Gallery will take you to the Microsoft Power BI community. But I don't want to use any of these two for now. I can just go to customize current theme. So if I go to customize current theme, that is going to open up. 1 second. Let me be sure. Okay, yes, it's coming up. So this is it. So customize current theme. So this is my theme that I have right here, and I can customize all of the colors here to show what I want my primary color to be, what I want my secondary colors to be, and so on and so forth. So I can change all of this, and because I have some colors, some preset colors that I want, which are these colors that I'm looking at right here. So I have the color codes already. I can just copy. 1 second, where is this again? So this is, yeah, thank you. So I can copy this and say my primary color, I want it to be this. My secondary colors, I just paste it here, for instance. Then I can also change things like maybe how I want my text to look. If I want, how I want the font, the size, the color. So I can use, because I have a particular color code, I'm just going to be pasting some of these things here. I want my title. You can also customize your cards. You can customize the font size and all. And by the time I'm done, you can also customize the visuals if you want any background, or you want borders, headers, and so on and so forth. You can also customize the page background. Because of time, I'll not be doing all of this. Let me just go to the finished report that I've created, and I'm just going to talk you through that. Right, so 1 second. So this is the the light theme that I've created. So it's capturing. So I've been able to customize all my colors the way I want them, and also put in my sales last year, my sales growth, the total units, and so on and so forth. Right, and I can also so I have icons here. So the icons that I brought in. So to add icons from, let's say you've saved your icons as an image. How to add it here is to go to the insert tab, to click on image, and then you can add as many icons as possible. I can't find the folder right now, so I'm not going to waste time doing that. And once I just select it, it's just going to bring the icons here, and I can click on the icon now, and let's say I want to give it an action. So I can click on the icon, go to format button, and give it an icon. Let's say this is a calendar, and I want it to show a calendar that I can easily drill through, and then I want it to go back also. Right. Also, I have something here that is maybe if you want to change the theme, maybe from a light theme or a dark theme. The way I use this is just to use a combination of icons and bookmarks. So I have this bookmark here, and you can add an action. So I created 2 pages in order to do the light theme and the dark theme. I created 2 pages. I had this icon here that shows lights on, for instance. Then if you click on this, it's going to take me to the other one that I just have another image that shows the lights off. So once you click, because I'm on the desktop right now, we're using Control, but on the Power BI service, you don't have to use the Control key. You can just click on them. So click on this to take you to dark theme, and then click on this to bring you back to light theme. So how do we, I think I've spoken about most of the functionalities here with using the theme. And then also, once you are done with your theme, you can always save your theme to use later. So we can save current theme just so that I can create later. There are some also people that create that write codes to create their own theme, maybe using maybe a JSON script and all that. I don't really have much information about that. So maybe this is what this is talking about. But you can save this current theme if you want to reuse them later. And then you can also have, so I have another icon here that maybe you want to see your sales by country, but you want to see it in a map visual. So this is just me using So let me show my bookmarks right now. So this is just me putting, just being intelligent with bookmarks. So you can use control click maybe here to see it in a visual format, and then you can use control also. You can click on the map to take you to the map visual, and then you can click on the chart to bring you back to the chart visual. I don't know if I still have more time, so I'd like maybe Ifeanyi or Michael to confirm if we have questions now. So maybe we can take questions right now, or if I still have time.
You still have time.
You can still go on.
Okay. How many more minutes? So let me just be sure.
Oh, maybe like 10 minutes. How many minutes do you need? Sure. How many minutes do you think you need?
No, I'm almost done actually. Just to round up, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Fine.
Okay. So let's go on.
Okay, thank you. So so here I was talking about, once I've set my current theme, so here let me go to my customized current theme now and show you some of the settings of this page. So I have some of these colors already. I have a setting where I want my text, my general text to look like, the title, the cards, the tabs, and so on and so forth, right? Maybe one area I want to dwell on is maybe how I use this navigation. So like I said, I created 2 pages, maybe one for light theme and one for dark theme, and I look for icons that just shows maybe lights on and lights off, and I try to put them at the same place for both these things. So I just come here, I go to I go to bookmarks, right? Sorry, page navigation, I beg your pardon. So on this button right here, or on this shape, if you go to, you click on your to format the shape. So because this is a shape right now, we're going to format shape. So I can add an icon, I can add an action to that icon. Add action to icon. So and on my action, I'm going to be selecting page navigation, right? So I'll select page navigation, and then I'll point to my page that talks about that shows me the dark theme, which is the revenue 2.0. So if I click on it right now, it's going to bring me here, of course, and I can click on this also and also select an action, and this action is going to take me back to the other revenue page, which is the revenue 1.0 or something like that. Then I have maybe some bookmarks here that just basically controls the navigation of some of these things. Like, of course, there are different ways that people do this. This is just what I've adopted for this format. Then also, you can also have a main page. So this is the main page I talked about the other time, where you just bring in the same way you brought in other elements. So you just come here to page background, and then you add your did I really talk about this? Yes, I think I did. So you add your page background, you add the background that you have saved in SVG format, you set transparency to 0, and then you change your image fit, maybe from normal to fit. And this comes right here, and then I just put maybe text or something. And then if I want to maybe navigate, use this to navigate maybe from one page or the other, I can do that maybe just using this shape and add an icon, or I can just use a button, maybe put a blank button over some of these things, so that when someone clicks it, it's just going to take them to the page they want. So there are no actions on it right now. This is just for demo purposes only. So I guess with that, I have been able to maybe do some form of justice, and maybe we can take questions now. So thank you very much for listening.